Okay, so let's start. Your Excellencies, Mr. Guillermo Daniel Raimondi, Ambassador of the Argentine Republic, Mr. Sebastián, Ambassador of the Republic of Chile, Mr. Norman Lizano Ortiz, Ambassador of the Republic of Costa Rica, Mr. Carlos Eugenio Garcia de Alba, Ambassador of the United Mexican States, Your Excellency Ambassador Eugenio Vargas Garcia, Director of the Science and Technology Department of Itamaraty, Professor Olival Freire Jr., President of CNPq, Carlos Matsumoto, Head of International Cooperation at MCTI, the diplomatic representatives of Argentina, Colombia, Cuba, Peru, Uruguay, and Portugal, representatives of UNESCO, and all the authorities, scientists, and Claf delegates present here. It's an honor to have the presence of all of you in this event. I would like to thank those of you, all of you, who have come here. It's an honor to have the opportunity provided by this high-level seminar, jointly organized with the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation of Brazil, and kindly hosted by the National Council for Scientific and Technological Development, to present and debate with you about the Latin American Center for Physics, its history, and its role and mission in the context of the Latin American scientific cooperation in physics. As you have the opportunity to testimony from the presentations and discussions that will take place today, Claf is a singular institution in the scientific and political system of our region. Thanks to its unique intergovernmental status and its long and pioneering history as the scientific center of regional reach for physics, Claf is and has always been much larger than its institutional size. Since its foundation in 1962, under the auspices of UNESCO, the mission of Claf is that of promoting the development of physics in Latin America. And this mission should be understood in the broadest possible sense, which goes beyond the essential contributions it has given to the training of young researchers in physics and the support of regional research programs and activities. Claf enjoys an unparalleled nature among the scientific institutions of our continent, which carries a dual capacity. From one side, it is the Physics Center for Latin America, maintaining historic and extensive relations with a countless numbers of institutions, groups, and communities of physics from virtually every country, and for that reason, possessing a profound knowledge of the region's context and the state in the field, and a unique capillarity within its scientific system. In fact, Claf was responsible for training the scientists that founded some of these institutions throughout Latin America. On the other hand, Claf is an intergovernmental organization, the only dedicated specialized instrument of the Latin American states to promote multilateral cooperation and coordinated actions for the promotion of physics, specifically in this region. As a metaphor of the city we are in, a capital created out of the solitude of the desert, the landscape of Latin American physics today is not anymore that of a few scattered islands of research, which Claf encountered when it was established, precisely to expand the horizons to new countries and regions. Latin American physics today is marked by a growing number of centers that, even if suffering sometimes from inconstancy in policies and funding, are able to train people and sustain research of a good and oftentimes world-class level. And we are here in this room today after 60 years of history, because I believe we are in a new beginning where the same elements that previously justified the creation of an institution like Claf in the 60s equally justify its existence and sustain the necessity for its strengthening today. But differently from the past, where integration drove logically from dependency, the state of Latin American physics today is strikingly marked by a lack of integration and insufficient regional cooperative actions, which can also be understood from the fact that after some development naturally followed a certain level of autonomy from the countries. But without integration, without the emergence of a Latin American physics, it is difficult to believe how our region can successfully respond to the opportunities and challenges of the waves of transformation that physics research is and will unleash in the world and in our societies. And you can think of artificial intelligence, quantum technologies, nuclear fusion, just to mention those few that are so disruptive that each one can create a new world. The recent scenario of Latin American physics is one where we frequently see much stronger collaboration ties with the Northern Hemisphere than within the continent. Although such North-South collaborations were and are very effective in developing local capacities, they leave behind a narrower footprint of regional impact and development, which in turn limits the outcomes of the research and the benefits for the society. I believe, therefore, that this new beginning we are facing, or the next step for the development of physics in Latin America, and for that matter, the mission ahead of Claf today, is precisely that of promoting a greater regional integration through coordinated multilateral collaborative actions that can further expand the breadth of regional impact of science in the region. And why coordinated? Because doing so is the only way to transform regional scientific cooperation actions into real and effective instruments for the development of the states, like, for example, Europe was successful in doing in the past several decades succeeding the Second World War. And in this scenario, Claf can be a crucial multilateral actor for the physical sciences in the region. By putting itself at the service of the scientific communities and the states of the region, and with the help of UNESCO, it can actively and effectively contribute to help generating and sustaining this multilateral dialogue and encounters so essential for the future of the scientific development of our continent. That's why the conclusion of this meeting will be the proposal for the establishment of some form of discussion table or forum like we are piloting today, dedicated to strategic teams of physics research, where representations of the Latin American scientific communities, institutions of the region, and governmental actors can discuss together and identify where lie the opportunities for regional multilateral actions that can be of impact in the region, and where joint coordinated actions can be effective and make a difference in the future development of physics for the benefit of the entire continent. In the context of what's commonly referred to as science diplomacy, this seminar will therefore look into the various aspects of scientific cooperation in physics in Latin America, with the purpose of presenting the scenario to start such discussion and to clearly delineate what role Claf can play as an instrument of the member states to promote regional scientific cooperation in physics research, for the development of Latin American physics and the construction of a shared future for our region. Thank you very much. And I would like to continue with this opening table, passing the word to Professor Olival Freire Jr., the president of CNPq.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Ulis, for the invitation to be here at the open session of this Claf meeting. I have just a short salutation to talk to this committee because we have a problem with our agenda, so I need to leave before 10 a.m. But I want to say that the regional cooperation in a very important field of science, such physics, it is a very, very important manner and strategy to develop science in each country. We have the expectation that this new rebirth of the Claf will be successful because we at the Brazilian state, the Brazilian government, we are very convinced that it's one of the weaknesses that we have nowadays in this very complex world. It's the insufficiencies of the integration and cooperation in Latin America in every field, not only in science and not only in physics. So the contribution that we can give is to take as a part an institution, the Claf, that has a very important history. The cooperation among countries, physics communities from different countries in Latin America. We have a very important history, but we needed to reinforce, as Ulysses emphasized, we need to reinforce this history, looking for a stronger cooperation. And we will debating. It's clear that we need a strategy to face this challenge. It's not only for mobility of researchers. This is very important. We recently signed support to Claf in this direction. But the main challenge now is to think cooperation in physics, in which topics, in which places, and what strategies we need to adopt to reinforce this perspective. So it's our word that we are glad to host here the Claf meeting, because we consider very important the perspective that you are open with this cooperation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Olival. And now I would like to pass the word to Mr. Carlos Eduardo Iga Matsumoto, the head of international cooperation at the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation of Brazil.
Good morning to all of you. Thank you, Ulysses, and thank you, Claf, for this partnership in organizing this high-level seminar. We are, well, the person that's supposed to be here today was Vice Minister, Secretary Andrea Latiger. She's not here today because she is in Mexico for a meeting that is organized by CECIT, the Secretariat there. And it's a very important forum. It's the STS Forum, Latin America. It's some cooperation with Japan. But we managed to involve several countries in the region to talk about science, technology, innovation, cooperation. And this is one of the examples that we have for forums and space to discuss regional cooperation on science, technology, innovation. And I think that I will talk a little bit of this in the afternoon during the session that I'll be one of the panelists, but what was already mentioned by Ulysses, that the need for better coordination of science, technology, innovation, cooperation in the region. So I think this opportunity here with Claf and the Ministry MCTI to organize this in a specific field of physics, of course, but we see this need in several areas. So I'd like to thank Claf and also thank CNPq for hosting us here today. And the reason why, of course, I also would like to thank the ambassadors and the colleagues from the diplomatic body that's here in Brasilia. And I hope that you managed to also inform your capitals about this meeting and what we are discussing here, and the importance of Claf, the importance of regional cooperation in physics for us. And what I would like to mention is the reason why we are here in a meeting of Latin America, and we are not speaking in Portuguese or Spanish, because this was also an effort to bring other organizations from other parts of the world to also be in touch with the work that we are doing here, but also we want to do in the next years. So it's very important to not only talk about regional, but we're isolated to what's happening with big infrastructures or big institutions for this field. From the perspective of MCTI was in Brazilian government, we are responsible liaise with international organizations that deals with scientific topics. And we are responsible for ask for the contributions, for example, the regular contributions. We are doing this with Claf for the last decades. But it's different that we have once in a year the request for payment of the contributions, and we don't see somehow what is becoming this resource. And I think that is the same with the other countries. It's important to contribute, to help, to support the initiatives, but we would like to be more close to the initiatives and not only the small committee meetings of the organization. So I think seminars like this would also support not only to bring topics, present some guidelines for the organization, but also be in touch and see what they're doing and see how we can support, not only in the institutional way, but how we can also use in other programs and other initiatives that we have internally to move on some initiatives. So the ministry is very helped to organize the institutions. We are very thankful for the participation of other Latin American countries here and international organizations. And we hope that during this day, we will be able to bring new ideas and try to design what could be a strategic role of Claf as well, and with other organizations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Carlos. So this closes the opening table, and we will proceed, Professor Olival, with a quick signing ceremony of the recently signed Claf CNPq agreement. And I would like to say a few words about that, and then also give the space to Professor Olival to say something about this agreement. So the Claf CNPq scholarship scheme was a traditional program that existed for almost 30 years between the 1990s up until the previous decade. This program directly contributed to the training and formation of over 100 postdoctoral researchers and around 50 PhDs from 15 countries across Latin America. The last scholarship of the program was concluded in 2017, and since then we have been hoping for an opportunity to restart the cooperation, to continue to respond to the growing and latent demand for regional research scholarships in physics. Almost a decade since the last scholarship was granted, it is therefore a great satisfaction to be here for the relaunching of this program, as it lies right at the heart of what we are hoping to build when we talk about Claf as an instrument for the active promotion of the regional integration in physics research. I'd like to remark that I also hope that the restart of the Claf CNPq program be a first instance serving as a regional example that in the short term, other similar actions can be created with other countries and agencies, as in fact, we are going to do with CONICET now. So to produce a coordinated network of mobility actions focused on contributing to the integration of physics research in Latin America, especially in areas which are considered strategic for the development of capacities by the countries of our region. So I'm happy that today we are signing this instrument, and I believe it's also a satisfaction for CNPq, which historically is one of the institutions that most supported Claf. So thank you very much, Professor Olival Freire Jr. Thanks also to Professor Ricardo Galvão, now Federal Deputy Ricardo Galvão, who is not here with us today, but who worked with us in recreating this program, and all the team of CNPq who helped us build this new fellowship, this scholarship scheme. So thank you very much.
This is a small contribution in the direction that you talked in the open of this session to relaunch the Claf activities and the support of the Brazilian government to Claf activities. It's a relaunch. Probably you have more information. You discuss in this meeting what were the problems and how to face the problem. From our perspective, this is very important, even if it is a small contribution, because unfortunately, in the last decade, we had a problem in this country because the trust in science was weakening, and indeed we had in the past government a true more than a lack of trust in science. We have a strong denial of the value of science in a very difficult moment for all the people in the world, which was the times of the pandemics. You may remember how Brazilian government dealt with the pandemic. We had a number of deaths that certainly could be reduced if the government's attitude would be different. This was very problematic for the Brazilian development because this was not aligned with the Brazilian tradition. Because the Brazilian tradition, independent of the kind of political regime throughout the end of the 19th century and even throughout the whole 20th century, we had democratic systems, we had dictatorial systems, we had military, civil systems, but there was one line of continuity. Science was very important in this country. Even for the proclamation of the Republic in Brazil, the idea of science aligned with the ideas of positivism was these ideas were very, very influential, particularly among engineers, medical doctors, and the military. So this was what happened in Brazil in the recent times. It's very difficult to understand why this could happen. And with the election of Lula in 2000 and the end of 2022, we can say that science is come back to the country. Then our support is in this direction, and we hope that in the near future we can increase the support. But I want to say that this is not the only initiative. Today, and that's the reason we took this picture with the representative of CONICET, that we are releasing the result of a joint call, CNPq CONICET, for supporting science. And we had this very good news that we will have a second call in the next year. And we are preparing. Matsumoto is very well informed about the idea of the program José Mujica, which will be, we intend to be a stronger program of supporting science and collaboration among scientists in Latin America. And let me ask you, in particular, the diplomatic representatives. We launched a prize, a science prize, the Mercosul Prize for Science and Technology. And we released the result, but there was one piece of the result that I was not satisfied. I called the people from our prize section and I said, if this will happen again, we will stop this prize. What was the problem? We have just one person who was awarded outside Brazil, from Colombia. And then they said that to me, there was not enough publicity of the prize. So I said, let's change this because science is moved not only due to the fellowships, the funding, etc., but also by the prizes. And we consider very important the maintenance, the continuity of this prize. And I would like to ask your cooperation in the publicity of the next edition of this prize. Thank you very much. Most of the winners. But it was not only physics. If you were physics, this would be different, you know well. Thank you very much. Let's sign.